Okay, fine. Sit down, shut up. Let's talk about heated rivalry.
Calling Caitlin's Corner.
Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm Caitlin. Today we're finally doing it. We're finally talking about the show that the TikTok For You page won't shut up about. We're finally talking about heated rivalry. Now, if you've been living under a rock and have absolutely no idea what heated rivalry is, picture two quintessential sports rivals. Now, picture them on ice with hockey sticks, but in their free time they're bumping a different kind of stick. But of course, it's a secret because we need that sizzling tension. That's basically Heated Rivalry. Heated Rivalry is a Canadian TV show based on a book by the same name by Rachel Reed, I'm pretty sure her name is, and it's taken the world by storm. I know it's been all over my For You page for what feels like months at this point. People may have been sitting down for Christmas dinner with their whole family, counting down the minutes for the Heated Rivalry finale to come out. People may have been me. Now, not to be disrespectful, but this show was not meant to do well. It was a low budget film between 11 and 12 million Canadian dollars. It was also picked up by a Canadian company that was only showing it in Canada, and the actors weren't like well known actors, so by all means it wasn't set up in the best light to have like an amazing audience. But thankfully for all of us, HBO Max and the Book Talk girlies came through, and now it is reported that Heated Rivalry is getting 10.6 million viewers per episode in the US alone. The cult-like mass psychosis spread very quickly, and it was mostly down to the TikTok app. But what's new around here? And I loved every single minute of it. I must admit, I love when shows get these like mass followings. I don't really know why, but it happens in pop culture quite a lot. I love lookalike competitions. I love when fan-made merch has been made and I'm wearing a jersey with a fictional character's name in the back, even though I've never watched a day of hockey in my life. I love that we had themed club nights all around the world that are showing edits, fan-made edits of TikToks that were too explicit to be on TikTok, so now they're hidden away in a Google Drive. I love it all. Now, what happened with Heated Rivalry is actually kind of unheard of. I feel like it takes a while for the core shows to get their core audience, their fan base that's like utterly obsessed with it, if that makes sense. They have like the obsessive behaviours. But I feel like Heated Rivalry did this like overnight. The show hasn't even been out for like 5 months yet. But if we're going to talk about Heated Rivalry, let's go all the way back to the start. As I said, Heated Rivalry started as a book in Rachel Reed's Game Changer series, which is a series that follows all different gay couples in the world of professional hockey. Heated Rivalry is actually the second book in the series, and it follows, of course, Mr. Shane Hollander and Ilya rozanov. We also get a little look at the first book's couple, Kip and Scot, who make an appearance throughout the show. Shane and Ilya are rival hockey players. Shane is Canadian, Ilya is Russian, and we follow their secret romance and the intense feelings, all while they keep their relationship a secret, as the hockey world has never saw a gay romance publicly before. Now, in an interview, Rachel Reed actually expressed that the books were kind of like a protest against the NHL, which is the hockey league, because they don't have the best reputation when it comes to homophobia, especially on the ice. She expressed that she wondered what would happen if a player actually came out as gay, how it would affect not only them but their team and hockey as a sport in general. So she wrote these books in all different scenarios to help see what that picture would look like. I found this fact very interesting, but she also said in the same interview that she interviewed a lot of gay and bisexual men, and although they thought that there was gay and bisexual representation on screen, it always had some kind of tragedy attached to it. So she set out to make sure all of her novels had a happy ending, which might be a spoiler, but that's what it is. Now, a quick disclaimer. As I said, this show was originally a book, and the book is always better than the show. I'm a huge advocate for the book is always better. I have not read Heated Rivalry or any of the Game Changer series. I know, I can hear you behind this screen screaming at me, Caitlin, what the hell is this? The book was wrote in third person and I just couldn't do it. I tried, I got like halfway through the second chapter and I couldn't do it any longer. I hate third person perspective. But I would like to say that I have a lot of online friends that have read the book and they really, really enjoyed it, and they said the show was quite comparable. So, I didn't read the book, but I have friends who said it was pretty good. So, just keep in mind, all of my thoughts that I am going to be saying are solely based on the show. Although it did have a happy ending, like the author said, it didn't shy away from like the inner turmoil and the intense feelings that come with being a queer romance. Like, for example, Ilya, he is Russian, his family is Russian, his family is in Russia. If he came out, he couldn't go back home, essentially, like, ever. And we see him battling with, like, those feelings. Even though he doesn't have the best relationship with his family, it's still his home, and you can see him battling with that every time he has, like, a moment with Shane. He knows he loves this man, but he knows that means he's never going to see his family again. He's never going to get to go home. His friends are in Russia. And I like that we can see him battling with that. It makes him feel like a real character. So the show was actually directed by Jacob Tierney, who, fun fact, wrote the script for Heated Rivalry. Like, after reading the book and everything, he wrote the script for Heated Rivalry before he was commissioned to, because he was afraid that the producers, in this case Crave, wouldn't read the actual book and, like, understand the need for the explicit scenes. At this point, I would just like to say, a lot of people think that the explicit scenes in Heated Rivalry were a lot, which they were a lot, but they were very, very necessary for the plot, and Jacob Tierney agreed. When he wrote the script before he was commissioned to, because he was afraid that they would see the sexual scenes and they wouldn't want to, like, put them all in to the show, but they were all very necessary for the characters' self-development and, like, understanding each other's feelings as well as their own feelings. And I'm very glad that everyone and him were proven wrong, that the producers actually did see the need for these and decided to keep them in the script. It's actually crazy because the most rewatched episode of the whole series is actually episode 5, which contains 0 NC scenes. So thankfully it was picked up by Crave, they kept all the scenes that were necessary, and then it was later picked up by HBO Max for its Australian and US release. Today it's actually Crave's biggest original series with a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is actually insane because I feel like Rotten Tomatoes scores are always low. 92%. Now I just really want to quickly talk about the two main leads because their stories are actually kind of crazy, especially Hudson's. So as many of you probably know, Hudson Williams was actually a waiter before he got this role, which, just thinking about the fact that you could go into the spaghetti factory or whatever the hell it was called, sit down and be waited on by Hudson Williams, that's a life I would like to live. But did you know he also starred in some questionable short films? Yeah, his online footprint is kind of insane. And now he's one of the biggest actors ever, rubbing shoulders with icons like Donatella Versace and Joshua from 17. Also in a picture with Bible, who's a TBL actor, and if you know me, I love TBLs, I love Bible, and this photo just about set me over the edge. This man even had Jimmy Fallon grinding on the ground, which was an image I did not need to see. And then we had Mr. Connor Storrie, who actually started in the world of gymnastics and YouTube. Fellow YouTuber here, he went under the name ActorBoy222 and his videos are, well, see for yourself.
So first thing I want to discuss is Katy Perry's song Firework. Do you ever feel like a plastic bag drifting through the wind wanting to start again? I really don't.
He was an A1 actor if you ask me, but he did say that his dream was acting because he liked to play dress up and he wanted to immerse himself in another world and communicate with other people through storytelling. He wanted to play pretend and he was very good with languages. And some to get a fun fact calculator because, fun fact, did you know, Connor only had 2 weeks to prepare his Russian accent and this man did a whole Russian monologue. This man has more talent in his left pinky toe than I have in my entire body. Connor's big role before Heated Rivalry was actually playing the Joker in the movie that was shot in 2022. Now, just like Hudson, he has reached a point of stardom that him and Hudson were both carrying the Olympic torches for the Winter Games. Finally, wrapping this up, coming to my thoughts. Spoiler alert, I really, really liked this show. I liked that even as someone who knows absolutely nothing about hockey, ice hockey, anything in that world, I could still watch the show, understand what was happening, and like feel the romance. That's how you know it was some good storytelling. I would just quickly like to say, I've saw many people online say this show has no plot. Did you watch the show? It's a romance. The plot is the relationship. The plot is them opening up, discovering more about themselves, who they are, who they want to be with the person they love. The show is all plot. Open your eyes, Stephen. I also really liked that the characters felt like real people with real stakes. The brand deals, the partnerships, everything that these two were getting as being known for like the top. It was like things that could get taken away from them, and you could see that they were like internally struggling with everything that was going on, and the fact that they could lose all of this stuff for being who they are, and that's why it like showed why they had to keep it a secret. As well, as I said, the characters also felt real. Like that one scene in like the first episode when I almost said Hudson, when Shane was waiting for Ilya for the first time, and he's like putting on a suit and then doesn't know what to do with himself, and then he gets changed again. It showed how nervous he was, and I feel like that's a feeling everyone can relate to. It made all the characters really relatable, which I enjoyed. I like watching real people on screen. And I also really loved the second couple. Kip and Scot's relationship, I really liked it. I also liked that seeing how Scot was struggling with the fact that he was a gay man was different from how Shane and Ilya were feeling. Shane and Ilya were both like dealing with the fact that they were gay or bi or whatever they were, and that they didn't want to come out because they didn't think the people around them would accept them. Shane was scared of like his parents accepting him and the world accepting him. Ilya was scared because he's Russian and Russia wouldn't accept it. His family's Russian, they wouldn't accept it. Whereas Scot's, I don't know how to say this nicely, Scot's parents had already passed on, so it wasn't a fact that he didn't want to come out to his parents and like how they would react and everything. It was more of he didn't want to come out because he didn't think the sports world would take him seriously, which I think is something a lot of people can understand. Even just being a female in this, like the sports world, who is a leader. Remember, he is the captain of their hockey team. So being in a leadership role and not being taken seriously, I feel like it was like firing up the competitiveness in him, and I feel like that is something a lot of people can empathise with, if is empathy the right word. I liked that the show showed us a lot of different reasons people were scared to do things, if that makes sense. They were all struggling with coming out, but it was all for very different reasons, and I liked that a lot in the show, and I'm very excited for season 2. So that is all my thoughts on Heated Rivalry. I'm very excited for season 2. I don't know if we're getting Shane and Ilya again or if we're getting more of other couples, but I'm very excited either way. I would just quite like to say thank you very much. We hit 6,000 subscribers the other day, and I just want to say I'm beyond grateful for you guys. I did post in my community tab, but I don't know if anybody saw it. I'm beyond grateful for you guys. I love and appreciate you so very much. I would also quite like to say thank you to this person here. I got my first super thanks last week. And it was after I was feeling a bit shitty because I was ill. And it made me smile. So thank you very, very much. I would also just like to say, if there's a button below here that says hype, please click it because it actually does help a lot. But with that being said, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to turn notifications so you get notified every single time I upload. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.
You gotta shrink me to swallow me.
It's a lot to swallow. I would know. High five.
Hey! Y'all the most vain.
Oh, it's feigning. Not an arch. I'm crawling. So if like this is the bed, like my knees up here, it's a leg up. My chest is down. I have 45 photos on my camera roll right now.
No, you don't.
Of different angles of your ass.
No, you don't. So he was like, ah! And then I was like, ah!
When I registered to vote, it says male, female, other. I put other and then put butt. Hollander, get on your knees.
You do the kind of like this? Oh my god.
And just kind of waddling like...